Hey everybody, what's up? It's Bob Smith from Smith Taekwondo and Pro Sport Kickboxing here in Hawaii, and I got a email request from someone, and I don't know who you are, but I'm sure that you'll know this is for you. So I had a young adult who asked me what to do. He's going to a good school, but the adults are irresponsible, and the adults don't even show up half the time. And as a young adult, he wants to be sparring with them and getting better, but they just kind of, the adults leave him hanging. So what I'll tell you is, because you end up sparring with the kids most of the time, you said it leaves you feeling embarrassed. First of all, you're becoming a fantastic role model for those kids, so don't ever be embarrassed by it. I spar with my kids all the time, every chance I get. And unfortunately, that's the mentality in a lot of the Taekwondo schools across the country. It's embarrassing because Taekwondo used to be such a powerful martial art, and now it's become a kiddie daycare center for a lot of schools, and others forget just how effective and how dynamic this martial art really is. And a lot of adults just come in and want to go through the motions, and I have those same adults, so believe me, I understand. I've actually had to beg many of them to come to class, just to train so often that I've just decided, man, I'll just train with the kids. So on to my point, if you're training with the kids, you should be able to get a fantastic workout. You should love it. I have way more fun sparring with the kids these days than I do with the adults, because the kids are enthusiastic. They're the way the adults should be when they're training. You know, instead of adults are always like, well, I have this and I have that, and I don't like to spar with this person, and that person goes too hard, and this person is clumsy, and that person is reckless, and I just don't like sparring with them. And then I have adults who, they just want to do what they want to do, move at their own pace, and even black belts. And granted, they have no respect for me or the martial art when they conduct themselves that way. So I understand what you're saying. When you go on to start sparring with the kids, it's going to teach you a lot about self-control. You're going to be throwing kicks and punches, and you'll end up being better for it. So you'll end up not being that person that other people complain about because you don't have control or you're too reckless. And if you think about martial arts, especially in Taekwondo, every kick and punch should be precise. It's going to help you to become extremely precise. I mean surgical. I've had adults who have told me that they didn't like sparring with other people, but they only like sparring with me. And why is that? Because of my precision. And they just came out and said, I know I'm not going to get hurt with you. So everybody in martial arts needs to strive to be able to spar that way, because precision is better than just trying to use brute force and blast each other. But don't feel embarrassed when you're sparring with kids. I get a fantastic workout when I'm sparring with my kids. They have no hesitations to throw everything that they can at me, and it allows me to move around, throw a lot of kicks, and it makes me constantly stay on my toes. And here's an example. When you're using control, I had this guy years ago, used to be a high school football star, big guy, and we were doing some drills one day with some kids, and they had on he had on a red man suit, a law enforcement protective gear that they use for training. And we were just letting the kids beat everybody up. They were attack the instructors and beat the instructors up. And this guy actually throws a left hook at a 13-year-old. So that's the kind of person that nobody wants to train with. Thinks that he accomplished something because he dropped a 13-year-old, and swung a left hook at him and hit him in the face. But other than having guys like that, which you don't ever want to be that guy, you want to be the one that the kids trust, that they can come to you and say, man, this was great, I learned something. And I promise you, you're going to learn something too. You'll get a lot out of it. And you should be able to walk off that floor soaking wet if you spar with each one of the kids, and just approach it with the same sort of enthusiasm that they do. And don't be one of those adults who always makes an excuse and they won't come to class and won't train. Just continue to be the example that you're being, and I'm sure that your school and your instructor is going to recognize that, and they're going to appreciate it. I know at your age, when you're young, right now, you should be competing. You should be, you've got all this energy and excitement and enthusiasm, and you want to spar and test yourself, and believe me, I get it. That never goes away. I don't care if you'll be 60 years old, you are still going to want to do that, because I do too. But in the meantime, and here's what you do. If you are sparring with one kid and you have a particular technique that you're not very good at, then you say, okay, for this entire round, all I'm going to do is this one technique. Now the kid's going to hit you over and over. He's going to score on you. He's going to pop you. It's going to be constantly pop, pop, pop. But no matter what, you just throw only that technique that you've resigned yourself to throwing. And then next kid comes along, choose another technique. Maybe it's a front leg hook kick, or maybe it's a spinning back kick, or a triple kick. You're running triple kick. Those are, and you'll get really good at it. So hope that helps. Hope that gives you some answers. And here's you some advice that you can share with your school. Whatever you do, take a good look at those kids and see how enthusiastically they're doing it. Truth is, just keep telling you, oh man, I forgot. But those kids won't. Okay, so if you approach everything that you do through the eyes of a child, that's going to make you a much better martial artist. So, and share that with your school. If you, instead of always complaining and grumbling and, yeah, whatever, I do what I like, I want to do what I do what I want when I want, I'll go with these guys. Instead of doing that, which is the worst thing you can do in your school, approach it through the eyes of a child. Be enthusiastic, be happy, and get out there and train with everybody. This is Bob Smith, Blood Makes You Related, Loyalty Makes You Family. Until next time, out.